Well, good morning everyone. Ian from DIY Home and Gardening, 14th of September, so time for that mid-monthly roundup. Lovely day, which it hasn't been all week. It's been pretty cold and windy, but looks like the weekend's going to be decent, so it's perfect time to go and have a look. So if I turn the camera around, we can have a look together. So first up, still got quite a few apples left on the tree. These are a variety called Scrumptious. Good introduction a few years ago, but you can use the apples as a dessert apple, so straight off the tree, or for cooking, or for cider. So really good on that side of things. Just to show you, so although you can't see anything, this is actually the wild garlic pot. And there's wild garlic that grows underneath there, so this time of year you will see nothing, and this purely relates to a question that I had sent across on my Instagram feed about someone with their wild garlic, and they thought it all died. It hasn't. It is a bulb, so the bulb is safe underground there. It's just waiting to do its thing in the springtime, so don't panic about that. Right, let's go and have a look at what else is happening. Okay, so these are all the embryo fruits now appearing on the fig. These will not be ripening for this year, but they will hopefully be held and over winter, so they will become the fruits that you eat next summer. So it looks like it's going to be a really good crop, and they're produced on older wood, or as it matures I should say, so it won't produce on the very juvenile wood but on ripened wood. So that's those. Sunflowers still doing their thing. As I say, it has been cold. I'd hoped that the Narangilla would have ripened by now, but it hasn't. But they are starting to get those orangey coloured hairs to them. You can see the difference on those that are nearly ripe to those that are just sort of, well, trying to form. I might just remove those to try and encourage these to ripen up. Cucumbers, picked a cucumber this morning, but I had actually cut all the foliage off of those because they're full of mildew. Mildew's come back again. You can see that there's a few cucumbers striving to grow, and some that have grown. Tomato alley. This really is the end of the tomatoes now, so there's not many left. I mean, there's some big ones there, but need them to start showing signs. So really, you know, that's a perfect tomato, good to go, good to eat now. As soon as it's showing colour on the tomato, doesn't really matter how faint the colour changes, there we are, you can pick it knowing that it will carry on ripening. So things like these San Mazzanos, all of these, if you want to make sure that the fruit's going to keep and you'll have the fruit, most of these could be picked because they've got colour change going on, and they will naturally continue to colour up. So this morning I had actually started to cut back and discard some of the pots of tomatoes, so I'm just saying a bit of a collection. So some are proper green, they'd be okay for using as a green chutney. Some are borderline as to being overripe, but they'd be fine in soups, and some there just starting to turn, so again they continue to ripen. But the foliage on the tomatoes not looking too good. Not sure, it's odd signs of possible blight, so because of that, just to be safe, I'm putting that in the compost bin, and the council can deal with that. So I don't generally speak about this just because I kind of forget about it, but this is my lemongrass that I did as a propagation video a couple of years back, and you can see that it's got nice clumps to it. It's in a 3-litre pot, takes very little effort, and you can just snip off the odd leaves as and when you need to use them. Don't tend to use the bulb as much because we've got so much leaf, but that is, yeah, so one plant, and all that happened, that go back in the greenhouse for winter protection. Here is the tomatillo. So you can see that on this one that we have here, it's got no fruit left because we've picked it all, used it, but it is, crazily enough, trying to reflower again. But that is also going to be got shot off today, although that, because they don't suffer with blight, I'm just going to take that to the allotment and use that in the compost bin. Now we got peppers. So mid-September, still get warmth. When the sun breaks, there's warmth there in the sun still, and that is helping to ripen up these chilies, because they need, in the UK, they need this extended period of time, especially if, like me, you grow them outside. So this is a new variety to me, it's called pumpkin. But there's some, let me try and squeeze through there. There's a lot of fruits. Oh, a lot of fruits coming on. Some really good sizing. I'm really pleased. I've got to say, I'm really pleased with how they've done in these pots. So yeah, 3 plants in the pot, and they are performing well. Be nice if those mushroom red would go red. But yeah, plenty of fruit developing, particularly amongst some of the smaller ones. So they're the Hang Hoi Supernovas, these ones here, really good size, just not gone red as yet. So that's what's happening out here. I'll go and show you the grapevine. Actually, before I show you the grapevine, just show you my work in progress. So, well, that's harvest still from potatoes, second earlies. These are all the garlics, different types. So what I tend to do, so take up less space, clean off all the foliage at an early stage, which leaves me with those. And then from here, I need to work out still which ones I'm using for a show, but I then separate them out, so one variety, one tray, and from here I can then work out which ones I'm keeping for replanting for myself. The reason I always replant my own is because actually the bulb itself, or the corm, it develops an awareness, I guess. It adapts to its environment in which it was grown. So after a year or two, this will become more adept at growing in my conditions here in Essex, more clayey soil, and so hopefully adapt and develop a better resistance to the conditions and produce a more consistent yield. That is the thought, and that seems to be what most people talk of. So I retain the biggest ones, or what I consider to be the best ones, for planting myself, and then the rest either get used for us to cook or give away, or I sell. So that's what I do with the garlic. Yeah, I'll just show you this. So the grapevine, plenty of grapes developing, some decent sizing, despite the fact that I didn't thin them out, but you can see they're starting to change to that slightly translucent colour. Once they go like that, that means they're perfect for picking, not necessarily for use on the table as eating straight away, although they are nice and sweet, but the translucent makes them perfect for using for juice, which is what we'll be using, as I say, because it's a mixed grade of sizes, but there's certainly loads forms on this plant, especially considering that it's grown in a container. Now, before I head to allotment, just thought I'd show you these. These are the last of the pickings of the round courgettes. I mean, they are some big sizing. Let's get these out. Yeah, big old size there, so perfect for hollowing out and using the outer bit as a bowl and having the contents within to eat, mixed with, well, whatever you want to use, whether you want meats in there or cheese or whatever, vegetables. But yeah, it's Seems to have been a really productive variety. Not sure if I'll grow it again though, but yeah, it's been really good this year. So let's go to the allotment, have a look up there. So back in the garage, I'm just picking out some shallots to take over to allotment for planting. Now I bought these the other day from the garden centre, new variety on me, Jamour, looks nice. And so yeah, I'm going to go with those, get 8 shallots into a pack. That's what they're looking like at the moment. So you can see it's sort of a banana type one. Now they're from Taylor's Bulbs, £2.99 for 8 shallots, which incidentally is the same price as buying 50 onion sets. Now shallots is one of those things, you know, I run a garden centre. Shallots is one of those things that we always get left with, and I think it's because people don't really understand what a shallot is or the value it represents. Now the reason I mention the onions is that for this same money you're only getting 8 shallots versus 50 onions, but actually these 8 shallots will produce absolutely stacks of shallots by the end of the season, probably more than the 50 that onions that you would have bought for the same money. All right, slightly different use, but yeah, I'll show you in a moment. So I've got those. I've picked out some of my own hermine, which these perform really well, so going with those. You can see these are the more globe-like ones, and these are Griselle, which I'm just going to pick out some more of those. Now when I talk about the shallots, that is from one bulb. You can see central bulb still there. I planted the bulb deeper because I purposely wanted to try and bulk up my numbers. So you can see every single one has got a lot of bulb to it, and if it was planted at normal depth, these would have been larger, fewer bulbs, probably more like about 6 bulbs per cluster. But you get the idea how we can quickly turn 8 or 10 normal shallots into a lot of bulbs from which to harvest and to keep harvesting and keep replanting, whereas onion sets, you plant them, you grow them, you harvest them, that's the end of it. So shallot, in my opinion, a lot more value for money, but yeah, it's just getting your mind around the fact that it's a, well, it is a different product, but it's a smaller thing, and the perception is you're not getting as much initially for your money. Anyway, let me finish sorting these out and we'll head to the allotment. Right, just got to allotment. Before I do anything, we'll have a little stroll around, see how the place is looking. Not been up here since Tuesday, so I know it's only a few days as we're Saturday, but a lot can happen in those days. So yeah, turn the camera back round and we can have a look. So up in the shed, picked the first of the pumpkins. They're Mammoth Gold. They're not massive, but you know, certainly big enough as a foot across. But yeah, so that's Mammoth Gold there. They're picked. Just trying to let those well, finish hardening up, curing. Got that lot there. They're all the Turk's turbans, which again curing. Just so they got that as their centerpiece there, and then these are the yuki curies, or onion squash as they get called. But so they're literally just sitting here to dry out. You can see the stems, or the vine is now starting to dry on a lot of these, and yeah, they'd be good to move to the garage at home fairly soon. So that's pumpkins. Just turn around. Now, Jerusalem artichoke, now about 10 feet in height. The sheep, annoyingly, are still continuing to eat the stems. They also keep eating the string that's holding them back. So I have had to tie this before I could get in the shed this morning. But you can see that. Sweet peas finished doing their thing. The intention, as always, is to save the seed. But I'm not sure what, probably pigeons, has been eating all the bloody seed. So there's not a lot left. And so I'm really going to have to get on top and pick some of these seeds to be able to grow them for next year. But right the way across, they've just gone through and devoured all the seed pods. So yeah, that's a bit annoying. Yeah, that's a Jerusalem artichoke there, looking very good. So yeah, brought the shallots up, some more of the spent tubs of dahlia. They go on the compost bin. So this bed here is where I'm going to be planting the shallots, and I'm going to be grubbing out this red kale, red Russian kale. I mean, to be honest, we haven't really used it. It's suffered really badly with thrip. They've just absolutely loved it. The cabbage whites did get in there, so they've also enjoyed it. And to be honest, the reason I've sort of started to experiment with different types of kale and cabbage is because I'm fed up of having to cover everything and having to protect so much stuff against things like the cabbage whites and thrip, more so thrip, because it is a right pain and it just devours everything and makes everything look unsightly. So yeah, grew it this year. That's going to be the lot. I won't bother with it again. Just can't be arsed with the hassle on it. So yeah, so once that's gone, some of the beetroot, well, possibly all the beetroot, will be able to be lifted. I haven't had a proper look on these. Oh yeah, some good sizing. So probably most of the beetroot could be lifted, and then that gives me my bed for shallots there. Yeah, there's a lot of Swiss chard there. We need to really get through that. Saw in the supermarket the other day, it was £1.50 for 100 grams. Is it 100 grams or it might have been 300 grams worth of chard. I mean, Christ, like one of these leaves would have been bigger in the packet. So yeah, there's a lot of value there. The Oric is really still motoring. Such a lovely eat as well. So sort of a replacement of spinach, and yeah, it's proven to be really tough. Well, the two plants that survived, I should say, from sowing seed have proven to be very tough. Germination is a right pain in the arse, very mixed, but nothing has touched it up here, so I'm definitely growing that again. Probably save the seed from this or let it self-seed. Another batch of beetroot there coming. These are the Egyptian walking onions amongst all the grass, so just need to weed those, but they've come up nicely now after that very short period of dormancy that they have. So yeah, we can crack on with that soon. This bed's the elephant garlic bed with my cover crop, another cover crop of radish, so hopefully they will do something before winter sets in, so that would be good. So that would mean then that I would have had 2 cover crops worth of radish out of here. I had also put in some kohlrabi, but you know, there's a few seedlings showing, but doesn't look like many, so we'll see. Then here, you know, this is how these leaves look after all the thrip damage. But this perennial kale is as tough as anything, so that can be stripped and that will come back for more. So I'm not worried about that, and I'm quite happy to keep that over the red kale, which I say has been decimated. Spinach again, still needing to use some more of that, or use it up quicker. It's dahlia, still waiting on this one to come through, which is Burberry Surprise. Now, looking nice. Finally, the carrots are starting to grow, continue to grow, so it'd be nice if they actually do something. Oh, here's the dog, Crazy Hound. She's been for a walk and now she's up here. Tomatoes, so many of those ripening, so they're good to use. Parsnips there, still looking very erratic. Might just end up lifting them, to be honest. So then that bed at the moment is just sitting empty, so that needs working on. I had originally thought of planting that with the shallots, but I need to tackle these thistles, so I'm going to have to probably dig out the soil and get some more cobble down to control that. Then this bed here, again, well, salvia's looking really good. Plenty of tomatoes on the go, need picking. Some big old beauties there. The main crops, sunflower, head's dropped now, so it's finished flowering, it just needs to ripen up. Leeks across the front here. Mixed results as to how quickly they're growing, but they are growing. Squash, so you can see that there's been a marked difference in the coloration from last video to this on the butternuts. And obviously you saw earlier that I've already picked most of the Yuki-Kuris and Turk's Turban, so not as many to see. Runners, going to be picking all of those today and get shot of these beans. Had enough of the plants now. I wanted to show you this massive tomato, so not much longer be able to harvest that, next to the massive butternut, next to the massive tromboncinos, which that one's fully ripening, and they are next to the ridiculously massive courgette. So I'll be picking some more of these as well. So it's the last of the green courgette plants. There's some juvenile ones amongst there as well, so now the bigger ones have come off on this plant. It's gone back into normal production of the smaller ones, and that is what happens if you leave the fruits on or vegetables on too long. They just stop developing anymore, so pull the big ones off and you'll get more small ones coming. Sorrel doing its thing, and we saw earlier the large boulder type ones, so I couldn't remember what they were called at the time, and that's not going to help me because it's faded, but yeah, they were really productive. Now in terms of dahlias, a few dead heads amongst here, but yeah, still going through picking those for home for cut flower, but also with a bit of an eye on the fact that I want some flower. Well, I'd like some flower for first week of October, which is for the RHS autumn show, which is a fruit, vegetable and a little bit of flower. So I want to get some dahlias to show for there, but yeah, that's gone over now, but it's was very nice. Westerton. Another batch of beetroot. Again, there's some good size in there, all coming at once. Spring onions. Needs a water and a weed. The turnips and swede there. Fennel. Got massive, need a prune. Tomatillos, again we've had a lot of these. yeah, it's that difference between at home, where it must be warmer, to the fact that they've all finished and gone over, to here where there's still loads to come. You can see mottling to the foliage though. That's where they're now getting cold, getting probably too cold for them to carry on. Annoyingly, one of these green Utahs has bolted. Oh, actually, a second one. So yeah, hopefully they'll hang on until the show as well. Got last few of the self-blanching left now. Now these leeks are looking good. Nice strong stems to them. Labels around the other side, and last batch of beetroot on there. As you can tell, we get through quite a lot of beetroot. Let's see. No. So I made a mistake of getting a different pen this year, and it's disappeared off. It's not been UV stable. Right, pumpkins. Last little bit of the plot. So still got a few pumpkins here that haven't ripened sufficiently to be able to cut. These are the zombie pumpkins, as they're called. That little tomatillo. So what I've been doing is obviously thinning out and removing the plants of the ones that have ripened, cutting back the vines on the ones that are trying to ripen, with a view then that yeah, all the goodness, instead of going into leaf production, goes into the fruit. Welsh onions there doing their thing, and then we got baby pumpkin there, just starting to ripen up. So yeah, that's where we're at on the plot. So that is it. That is middle of September video update done. You can see plenty of colour still on the dahlia, so they're good to go. But it is now, as sort of start of the video, time to start thinking about the autumn plantings. So things like the shallots, garlic, onion, last sowings of bits and pieces, so whether that's broad beans or future sowings, broad beans, get some last bits of lettuce in, carrots, yeah, other what's the veg, like the different leaves, the mizunas of this world, mustard. So it's that time. Think about the autumn, think about coming into the winter time, unfortunately, but needs must. Anyway, video done. If you've got any questions, then please send them to me. I always do my best to answer them for you. If you like what I'm doing, then please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that reminder button so don't miss out on the future videos I'm doing. And above all else, just enjoy your time outdoors. Make the most of the fine weather. So till next time, bye for now.